Hello, everyone. I am your host, Lauren, and thank you for tuning in and listening to another episode of Empowered with Lauren. Ladies, put your seatbelts on because we are going for a ride that will give each and every one of us the tools to live a better life, a life with more happiness, more energy, less wrinkles, and a lot more sex. After this episode, you will have more control over your destiny by knowing a new way to live with a new way to age. We have an amazing guest joining us today. Many of you know her as Chrissy Snow from the hit television show Three's Company, or the sexy blonde bombshell who redefined fitness with the Thigh Master. But she is so much more. This icon has always been ahead of her time. In the 1980s, way before the Me Too movement, and when it was standard protocol for women to get paid considerably less than men, this woman stood up for herself, and she asked to be paid equal to that of her male co-star, John Ritter. ABC actually fired her for that. That devastating setback, however, never defined who she is, and with perseverance and resilience, she used it as fuel and has had and continues to have an unbelievable career. At 73 years young, America's sweetheart lectures all over the world, has also received an honorary doctorate from National University. She's established herself as a leading voice on anti-aging. She is the author of 27 books with millions of copies in print globally, including 3 #1 New York Times bestsellers. Her beauty is timeless, her career endless, her energy contagious, and her marriage is envious. She is the one, the only, Suzanne Somers. Hey,
wow,
Suze.
what an introduction. Makes me want to meet her.
We need to meet this woman. She's the one and only.
Thank you so much for that introduction. What a lovely thing. I really appreciate it.
I am honored to have you join us on Empowered with Lauren. We have so much to talk about. We really do. But first, I want you to know how much I loved your husband Alan's Valentine's striptease for you. With all due respect, Suze, he is one sexy man.
Isn't he? You know,
he is sexy.
He embodies to me all that I write about. That the age really is just a number. It's about how young is your energy. So when you see Alan Hamill, and I'm in the bathtub outside, and he's doing a striptease, that's what a young guy would do, you know. And
100%.
It's not like an old guy's doing that. It's like everybody went, he's hot. So
no, he's hot.
Yeah. I give him handfuls of supplements every day, and I give him his testosterone shot once a week, and he rubs on DHEA cream, and we eat organic food, and this is the outcome. This is what it looks like.
He's 83 and you're 73 and you're having sex twice a day, Sue? Sign me up. Sign me up on this new way to age. I need to get myself that oxytocin, that's the natural hormone you give Alan. I got to give my husband that.
Absolutely. I think everybody should get oxytocin. It's the love and happiness hormone, and it makes you feel all warm, and it's something that when we're young we make in our bodies all the time. That's the impetus for we're all hardwired to procreate,
right.
And so nature gave us the tools inside of us that make us want to create. And oxytocin is part of that. So it's a harmless hormone that we once made in our own body, and as you get older, you run out of it. By the time you're my age, I don't make any hormones anymore. So if I didn't do what I do by putting back the hormones I've lost in the aging process, I can't even imagine who I would be. But I wouldn't be the me that I am. The me that I am has happiness. I wake up every morning with energy. I have a strong libido, and I have good bones. My brain is working better than ever, all because what I say in this book is there's lab work we can all do, and all the tests are in the back of the book to tell you what is what, to determine each person's individual deficiencies. We decline either by aging or by the environmental assault. So that's why a lot of women are losing hormones in their 30s because they're so bombarded by chemicals. You know, we're so bombarded by chemicals that 29% of all of our high school students are on prescribed amphetamines.
It's unbelievable.
That's down the road. That's not going to.
It's tragic.
Yeah, it's not going to. Yeah, and it's not going to go anywhere good. And it's really hard to wean them off because amphetamines gives them focus and calms them down, and it's a addictive drug they don't want to give up. And when Dr. Gonzalez was alive, he said they predict there will be solid tumors of the brain and prostate, and he named a number of other glands from this prolonged amphetamine use. You can't keep putting foreign molecules into your body and expect your body to work right. The body's going to revolt. So this book is about common sense. I gathered the best and the brightest doctors. Each doctor has a practice. A couple of them don't. A couple of them are. Dr. Sinatra is lecturing and consulting, and then the doctor I interviewed for cannabis, who is with the CDC, he doesn't have a practice. But what he told me about cannabis was that, and this is at the CDC, he's not selling it, he doesn't have an agenda. He said, we discovered that every cell in the human body has an endocannabinoid receptor site, meaning our bodies have been craving cannabis, which grows freely, which usually happens in nature, to relieve stress, relieve pain, to calm us down. It's nature's tranquilizer. It's nature's painkiller. It's nature's sleeping substance. So I was really excited to hear that it's not radical and it's not crazy, and this guy was a scientist. There's so much stuff like Dr. Terry Hertog in Belgium. He taught me about targeted peptide treatments, which just blew my mind, that any part of your body you can rejuvenate with peptides that target specifically muscles or heart or one of your organs or glands or brains or if you don't have a sex drive. It works on the sexual center in the brain that puts you in the mood. And they're not a drug, and they're not expensive. There's one drug called PT-141, which is what turns on the sex stimulator in your brain. I tried it because I wrote about it, but I'm so hormonally balanced. It was too much for me, but I realized, wow, it works. And so for men, they've always had Viagra. But now here's a peptide for women. And women, especially women as they're getting older and have no hormones, they just all say, oh, I'm over that. And I would say, you might rethink that because we're all going to live so long now. This is about life extension. It's here. They figured out quality of life extension. Like you wrote in your book that you see yourself being alive till 110 years old, but rocking it through those years. Yeah. That's a big difference, right? Yeah, because the present paradigm of aging is unpleasant. It's decrepit. It's frail. It's one of the big three: cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and then the end point at the nursing home. I look at that and I think, no way. So along the way now, what this book teaches is the choices to make that will take you along with your aging, but with a different. You don't have to accept that paradigm. You can accept that these choices will give you quality of life in this extended life, so you can be alive and not be sick. Because that's the terrible thing. I call it the long, slow death. And I'm seeing it with friends of mine. And I've been going to a lot of funerals of my friends. They all went on this pill and that pill had a side effect, and they had to take that pill. And I watched, like one friend in particular, just slowly lose himself, slowly lose his juice. He was bent over. His knees were out. His hips were out. His back was out. He had different cancers. He had lung disease. And pretty soon he just was no longer him. It took, probably 8-10 years for him to die, and he suffered the whole time because he wasn't him again. And this guy was one of the coolest, hippest, funnest guys ever. And I'm watching it a lot thinking, what a terrible way to end a beautiful life. So imagine a life that you get to live, let's say to 100, because now everybody's living to their 90s and in bad shape, but they're into their 90s. But imagine living to 100 and not being sick and not being old in the way that we imagine being old. So that's what this book is about. You don't have, that doesn't have to be your experience.
And I was really shocked and happy to hear that 65 to 70% of the length of our lives is determined by lifestyle choices we make. And our genes account for less than 35%. So just because your mother's fat, your grandmother's fat, your father, it doesn't dictate what's going to be your future or your destiny. And I thought by reading this book, by the choices you make, 100%.
Right.
And that's what's exciting. And I love the fact that you're talking about owning control or having more control of your own destiny. I love that each one of these specialists go through in depth on all alternative healthy ways to own that control. I was really interested, and I know you swear by the bioidentical hormone replacement, or BHRT. You call it the juice of youth. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah. When we're young and we make a full complement of hormones, we never think about the fact that we feel good all the time, that we have energy and we can jump and dance and feel good. As you start declining, and that usually happens with aging, but like I said, the environment is blunting hormones in men and women earlier and earlier. And that's why younger and younger people are getting more and more cancer, because biologically speaking, we're here to make a baby or babies. That's in molecular biology. And the valuable ones relative to molecular biology are the young, healthy, reproductive ones. So when the brain recognizes that someone is no longer making a full complement of hormones, it registers, this person can no longer reproduce. Let's get rid of that person. That's when you get your first cancers. That's why I talk about the importance of keeping your hormones balanced. You have to trick the brain into believing that you could make a baby. But, I don't have any eggs. I'm not going to make a baby because I'm putting hormones back. But it allows me to live a life that I've always enjoyed. I just have a different energy. And I have women come up to me all the time, who say, "Oh my God, you saved my life. Oh my God, I can't believe how I feel ever since I went on bioidentical hormones." Now I would say, you saved your life. You had the good sense to read this book and educate yourself, and then that woman is able to go to the doctor, knowledgeable, and not like putting him to having to start in kindergarten with you. If you come in with the knowledge and already prepped like you are, I can tell that you're prepped. When you go to the doctor, you can ask the intelligent questions and you can get yourself together faster. So here's what happened to me. I had 3 years before I was 50 where I lost me. And I thought I would go to bed and I couldn't sleep. And I would think to myself, oh my God, I have to sleep tonight. I'd fall asleep because I hadn't slept the night before and the night before and the night before. I'd fall asleep into a deep sleep for 15 minutes. And then I'd wake up just totally sweating. Then I'd have to change the bedding and change my nightshirt. And then I'd lie in bed for 3 hours praying to go back to sleep. But see, a woman whose hormones are out of balance, her cortisol is so high, and cortisol is your stress hormone, that she cannot sleep. So the only way you can balance your hormones is to first go have lab work. And the back of the book tells you to determine your exact deficiencies, which is different from me. Everybody's an individual. What I need is different from what you need. And put them back. Now, when you're first starting, you can't, I found this endocrinologist in Santa Barbara. I tried every doctor, and I was offered sleeping pills and anti-anxiety and Valium and cholesterol-lowering drugs. And I said, is this the best you have to offer women? So I heard about this endocrinologist. I took the blood work. I drove up there, and I got in her office. She looks at my lab work. She says, "Oh, you poor thing." I said, "What?" She said, "You must feel terrible." I said, "Terrible. I just feel terrible. I'm in a bad mood. That's not who I am. I can't sleep. I'm sweating. I'm anxious. My life, I've lost my life. She said, well, you have virtually no estrogen anymore, and you're not making any progesterone, which is your feel-good hormone. She said, what I'm going to do is put you on bioidentical hormones. That's the first time I heard about it. I said, what? Bioidentical is biologically identical to the human hormone, an exact replica of what you once made or still making a little of, putting back something that the body recognizes. Body doesn't recognize foreign drugs. It goes, what is that? So she said, I can't give you everything you need right now. I said, why not? She said, it took a long time for you to drain out. I have to dose you slowly, but you're going to feel better right away. And then over the next year, we'll just keep listening to the language of your body. And you call me. You call me if you're itchy. You call me if you can't sleep. You call me if you're in a bad mood. You call me with all the symptoms. And I said, I call you when I'm itchy? She goes, absolutely. And so every time I'd call her and go, the itch is back, she goes, well, what were your stresses this week? And then she dosed me higher. Every couple of weeks I felt better and better and better. And a year into it, I had me back again. And I wasn't on any drugs. And that's what was so incredible. And that's what's available for every woman and man. And they like to, whoever they are, like to criticize bioidentical hormones because you don't need any drugs when your hormones are balanced, or every once in a while, when you need them, you need them. They're a godsend for pain and infection. But imagine getting yourself back. I call it your juice. You get your juice back. You just want to live and love life, and then if you can get your partner, like I got my husband on testosterone, and wow, the life we're living is something I never imagined. It's so beautiful. And at 73, I thought I'd be old, but I'm not old, and it's because of the hormones.
I love the quote you wrote in your book that you're living and you're happiest now at 73 than you ever have been in your entire life. Mm-hmm. That's power, Suzanne. Yeah. I mean, you don't get much better than that.
You don't.
You've always been gorgeous. You've always been sexy, but your journey, you've had a lot of hardships. You know what it's like to be up. You know what it's like to be down. Number one, You're a role model because your perseverance and your resilience is an inspiration to all of us. From the abuse you experienced in childhood to the firing and what went on at ABC, and then I believe you were diagnosed with breast cancer in 2000. Did you ever think you would get breast cancer? Is that when, right, I mean, and how you fought that. You decided you were going to do this an alternative way, not just putting the medication into your body, the pharmaceutical.
I find it to be a veiled gift. When you hear the words, you have cancer, it's a gut punch. And I thought, the first day was a gut punch. The second day I thought, what have I done in my diet and lifestyle that has allowed me to play host to this disease? And when they offered me chemotherapy and the standard of care, I looked at them and I said, I'm not going to do it. And my doctor said, you're going to die. I said, I really think I will die if I do what you want me to do. That took every ounce of courage, and I'm married to someone who believes in me. And I decided to change my life by the food I eat. The food is so important. Food is your fuel. I would say if you had a Maserati, you wouldn't put inferior fuel into a Maserati yet. Look what we put into our body. And
right. It's all hormone injected. Right.
Yeah. And what else? Who knows? And they're eating, if you don't buy organic grass-fed beef, when you have a steak, you're eating not only hormones and all the injections in that cow, but you're also eating GMO food. What's that going to do? So that woman was an angel in my life. And then I was able to start writing about it. When I felt so good, I thought women need to know about this. And here I am, 27 books later, and a passion I never thought I was going after. I realized you don't choose passion in life. It chooses you.
It chooses you.
And so,
yes.
Yeah, and when I left, when I had to leave, when I was fired from the show, which I'm over it, but it was just unfair and stupid. They lost so much money. They lost over $1.5 billion in revenue in back end on the shows that I wasn't in, because the valuable shows were the original chemistry. They lost out on the branding that I wanted them to do. I didn't own Chrissy Snow, but I kept saying to them, we should brand Chrissy Snow's clothes, her short shorts and her T-shirts, and do Chrissy Snow lunch boxes and do the whole Chrissy. No, they had no interest in doing that. Imagine the money they lost by not branding. No one was branding at that time, and they were mad at me for bringing it up. So they're lost. Anyway, we went off after that and branded Suzanne Somers, and now I have over 1,000 products, and I created the Suzanne Organics line because I started thinking about the skin. The skin is the largest organ in the body. And when you look at your skin under a microscope, what look like pores, when you look at it under a microscope, our pores look like big holes. And then visualize putting chemical cosmetics over a big hole. Where's it going to go? It's going to drop into your bloodstream. And when it gets to your when it drops in your bloodstream, then it goes on a rampage. Chemicals love fatty organs and glands, and the one they like the most is the brain, which is 60. Some people say 45, some people say 65% fat. Whatever it is, it's our fattiest organ. When the chemicals get up in the brain shrinks to make room for them. The more chemicals that you take in, the more the brain shrinks. Now, think about the epidemic we have now of ADD, ADHD, OCD. 29% of our high school students in America are on prescribed amphetamines for those diseases I just talked about. And the kids brag about their initials. Oh, you have ADD? I have ADD and OCD. Like they're proud of it. Where's that going to go? Where's that going to go?
Well, we have a societal crisis, and the fact is pharmaceutical drugs, and I love what you wrote, it says it puts a Band-Aid on the deficiencies. They never cure the deficiency. And never. I thought what I'm going to say, I'm going to probably mangle his name, Dr. Magaziner. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right.
Magaziner, great doctor.
Magaziner. I love what he wrote. Patients with depression and anxiety, they're not deficient, Suzanne, in Prozac or Zoloft, but they're deficient in certain B vitamins or certain neurotransmitters, and let's try that direction first. Let's try natural nature first before we start dosing people up. The fact that depression is up 65% in teenage girls, that every girl I'm walking, I speak with, I do motivational speaking, they're all on antidepressants. What are we doing to our young children?
You know, it's interesting. I was just talking to a television host. I was just on TV, and I said, "How's your daughter doing?" He said, she's 15, but she's depressed, and she doesn't want to go to school. She wants to stay home, and she's upset all the time. And I didn't have time to tell him she's chemically imbalanced, and that for a teenager now, when they're like that, they need to get blood work to determine first their toxic burden. And that's a test to determine your trichothecene levels. It's in the back of the book. And to determine her deficiencies, put it back so you don't have to put a teenager on drugs. The drugs, the body doesn't want foreign molecules. The only time you take drugs is when they're absolutely necessary. So
when you've exhausted everything else, right, Suzanne? When you've exhausted all that, right.
Right. And for people who live in the New York area, drive, if you want to find a doctor, Dr. Magaziner is in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I tried to put doctors in from different parts of the country so that you could access them. The thing about these doctors is you go once, and then you don't really, if you want to, you can go once a year, but you really can do it all through renewing lab work. You call the doctor and you say, I don't know, lately things are not quite so, and then they'll do more testing. That's because you're low in potassium, or that's because you're low in magnesium. And then the antidote is give them magnesium, give them potassium. These are things the body craves, not antidepressants and anti-anxiety pills.
First off, I think the book is truly an encyclopedia. It's a must-read for everyone. We all are searching for the found. I mean, it truly is. When I say to you, I read this book, and I'm not kidding. It's about 344 pages, I think. I read it, Suzanne, in a day. In a day.
Wow.
And I have a little 6-year-old girl because I couldn't put the book down. I have a different perspective on a lot of things now, and I'm all about eating well. I exercise like a lunatic. I'm all about being natural. But don't get me wrong, I have to be honest here. I still enjoy a cocktail or two.
That's my little guilty pleasure. But we
all have to have one or two, right?
Yeah, tequila.
I love the fact that you still drink. That's what's important.
Yeah.
You still have a cocktail. Why tequila, though? Do we do crazy things on tequila?
No, because it's low to no sugar. You don't drink a lot of it. I've never had more than 2 cocktails because something about tequila says in your brain, well, that's enough. And it's kind of fun, and it's how my husband and I relax at the end of the day and enjoy a date with one another. It's life enhancing for us. We dance, we talk, we have a great time. The life is to be enjoyed. This is not a book about eating hay. I eat a high-fat, high-protein, high-vegetable diet, all organic. But I eat butter, cream, sour cream, olive oil, full-fat cream cheese. One of my favorite dinners is chicken piccata with lemon butter, caper sauce, and vegetables tossed in olive oil and garlic or in butter sauce.
Sounds yummy to me.
This is eating real food. If you can pick it, pluck it, milk it, or shoot it, you can eat it if it's organic. Organic is key because today, when I was a kid, there wasn't any organic because nobody ever thought of spraying poison on our food. Now people are eating poison food all the time. Where's that going to go? That's why for baby boomers, we have a 50% increased risk of Alzheimer's. And if you're a baby boomer with diabetes, you have an additional...
Did you say a 50% increase?
50.
Wow.
50. And if you're a baby boomer and you have diabetes, you have an additional 50% increased risk of Alzheimer's, giving a diabetic baby boomer a 75% increased risk of Alzheimer's. My advice, I don't give advice. If it were me, let's put it better. If it were me, I would eliminate all chemicals. Think of how many chemicals you take in for your skincare. I urge your listeners to go to SuzanneSomers.com and order just 1 or 2 of my organic skincare products. You'll be blown away. And I've done organic makeup. That's all I wear. I'm doing press all day today. I wear it. I look on the screen. I go, it looks great. I don't need the chemical stuff. And I make a household cleaner that's made from colloidal silver, which is so safe that you could drink it. I don't recommend it, but it will not put any chemicals or toxins in your body. It just cleans it. It kills all bacteria. That's how you thrive and survive in a world that is really trying to kill us. Poison on our food, injecting our protein, polluting our air, the electromagnetic fields that are bombarding our brains, the electromagnetic radiation from our cell phones that we all have on our person all the time. We are fighting to stay alive, and if you don't make the right choices in today's world, and every day think about all the choices you make, you'll either thrive and survive, or it'll do you in. I want to thrive and survive, and that's what this book is about. Age.
I love that. Yes.
This chapter of my life I didn't expect. I thought when I was 70 I'd be old. I'm not old. And my husband's 83. He's not old. We are like surprised that this whole new life is here. We're healthy and we don't have the angst of our youth. We've raised our kids. We have a beautiful family, and we're just having this. If these are the golden years, they're better than I ever imagined, and we don't even have a rocking chair.
And this, to me, is the most empowering message because you think about it, people are petrified of growing old. And knowing that you, 73 years, Alan, 83 years, rocking and enjoying it and living each day to the fullest. I mean, you own sexy, right? You own it. If there's any woman I know that is comfortable in her own skin, it's you, Mama. Like, you are it. You show it, you work it. What can we tell our listeners? What are things that you can say, 3 tangible things that they can own their sexy, the way Suzanne Somers owns hers?
Well, it's food. I can't stress enough. The food you eat will determine the health that you have. That's number one. If you are declining in hormones, put back your hormones. It explains it in the book with natural hormones. And understand that sleep is a game changer. If you're only sleeping 4 and 5 hours a night, you're setting yourself up for a heart attack, because if you can't sleep, your cortisol never goes down. And cortisol is your stress hormones, and it is a big factor in heart attack and stroke. So it's just, 3 things: food, the hormones. The hormones will balance your cortisol, and then get sleep. That's so important.
And your hormones are going to balance those mood swings. I mean, you said for a few years in your 50s or late 40s, the mood swings were very different. And now you live every day and you're happy. What's it like? We need to bring happiness back. That's what we need. We need to bring happiness back.
I'm never depressed. I have a fractured hip right now, and I had to stay in bed for 6 weeks.
Ooh.
I wasn't depressed. And my husband got into bed with me and put his laptop, and he did his business from bed, and it was so comforting. And my mood was great. Sometimes you.
How did you fracture your hip?
Yeah, I like to tell everybody I had too much sex, but in reality,
I was going to say, tell me something fun. Come on.
I know. There's nothing fun about a fractured hip, I'll tell you.
No.
But even that didn't get me down. My kids were asking me last night, how you doing? I said, I'm doing great. It's not bravado. I'm doing great, because I am balanced. Life is about balance. All life, the planet, the environment, our bodies, all need balance. And when we're out of balance, be it the planet, the environment, or us, it just doesn't work well.
And your energy is of a 20-year-old. Is it true you were doing a 90-minute show nightly in Vegas this past year?
Yeah, and I came home from my, one night I was walking back to my hotel suite after doing a show with my husband. I said, gosh, I love this. I want to be doing this when I'm 80. And I'm telling you, I will be. I will be.
Oh,
there.
You will be.
100%. And I will have juice and energy.
Can you talk to us a little bit about nutrients being the fertilizer for your brain and body?
Yes, those are the other tests that you can take about what is decline. You decline in hormones, you decline in nutrients, you decline in minerals. If you don't have the proper nutrients and minerals in your body won't work well. Now you're out of balance. You want to get balance back. So there are tests in the back of the book that you can take to determine your deficiencies with nutrients, and determine your mineral deficiencies, to determine if you're not absorbing minerals. There's a lot of things that you can do. Sometimes if you're really deficient, you might have to have intravenous IV mineral drips for a while to really build it up. But that's the way this new aging works. And everybody is capable of getting back the juice they lost. And it's never too late. The earlier you start, the better. But I was talking to a girl today who's 47 she was telling me about, I'm starting to feel perimenopausal. And I said, well, then get a blood test, get a baseline. She said, well, I'm not that bad. And I said, the earlier you get a baseline, the sooner you'll be able to tell when you start to decline, what to put back. I said, you'll be able to escape the entire experience of menopause if you just keep filling the tank so that you don't drain out. Menopause is called draining out. You're not making any more of the vital hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA. And so that's how it works. And some people say, no, it's a lot of work. I go, it's more work to be sick.
100%. And what better way to live a life that you're rocking? You said a quote on page 58, if I can share it with our listeners, because I thought it said it all. You wrote, I have sprung back from childhood abuse, violence, traumatic teen years with a teenage pregnancy, shame and defeat, breast cancer, my home being burned to the ground, being fired from my greatest job unfairly, and black mold. It's taken a lot of work to arrive where I am today. I feel proud and good about myself. I also wake up happy, healthy, and grateful. I did it. You can do it too. Profound, Suzanne. That says it all.
Mm-hmm. What else
you
can
are
I
an
say?
Inspiration. Exactly.
Thank you.
You're an inspiration.
Thanks.
You're a role model. Everyone has to read this new amazing book, A New Way to Age. It is a wealth of knowledge. There is tremendous resources back there. Can you give your website for everyone to go and get these supplements and these creams and all this organic, amazing stuff? Where can we find you?
Thank you so much. Yes, SuzanneSomers.com. And I urge your listeners to come to my Facebook Live shows. You will love them. We do them twice a week. A lot of them we do at Big Al's Bar at our house, and we all have a tequila together. And then I teach. I love teaching what I know, and they love it. And then sometimes Alan and I dance, or, if we have friends over. Last night we had a family dinner Facebook Live where we introduced them to all these beautiful olive oils and balsamic vinegars and sea salt rubs that we make. Because I also am into amazing food. 9 of my books were cookbooks. And so that's what we did. We had the family over. We made this great dinner. I talked to them for an hour. They ask questions. I answer. It's just so wonderful. So Facebook Live, sign up, and then we will send you alerts when the next one is. It's always 2 times a week. I'm thinking of 3 times a week because it's so much fun. And then at SuzanneSomers.com, you can get Suzanne Organics, you can get Suzanne Organics skincare, makeup, household cleaning products, etc. And the supplements.
Suzanne,
these
you're
things
amazing.
Will change your life. Thank you.
I'm going to go do some of these testing. I'm going to go to the doctor in Palm Beach you talked about, or in.
Oh, great.
I am a huge advocate for what you're saying. You walk the walk, you talk the talk, and I need to follow in your footsteps. And I hope my husband looks as sexy as Alan does at 83 years old.
I'll tell you, when you do this, he's going to look at you, and it won't take long before he'll want what you have. Thank you for your time, and thank you for it's such a pleasure to do an interview with someone who's actually read the book. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. I have tears in my eyes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are truly spectacular. And I also want to say, you played this ditzy blonde on TV, and it took so much. It's so hard to play that with your body language, the facial expressions. It's amazing of how brilliant you really are. And my one question to you that I would love to know, did you get a kick that throughout your entire career that you shock the shit out of people with your intellect? I mean, you're brilliant. I mean, that's power, sister. Right?
It's fun. It's fun, I have to say. I did notice one thing on the book tour of this one. Not one person has ridiculed me. I've such respect. And because I've been fighting, the people going, oh, she thinks she's a doctor. Not this time. And I realized, you know what? People are finally ready to hear. Maybe it took 27 books, but they're finally ready to hear because people are not feeling well and they don't know what it is. And we've hit a wall with allopathic medicine and drugs. So I hope everyone gets out of this book what you got out of it. You got it. You're going to go. If you're going to Boynton Beach, you're going to.
I'm going.
You're going to soar.
I can't believe.
Please use my name when you go.
I will. I think this is powerful,
Absolutely.
And it's going to change my life and enhance it. And I'm all about living a kick-ass, rocking life.
I'll tell you what. About after you do this, a year from now, let's talk again, and let's talk about where you were today and where you are a year from now. Okay, promise.
Promise. You have my word on that.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful interview. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Suzanne. Have a great night. Kiss Alan, and I hope to speak soon. Suzanne Somers, author of A New Way to Age, leading by example, living her best life at 73. She's beautiful, brilliant, and truly an empowered woman. To all my listeners, you can get more information on my website at empoweredwithlauren.com. I always love your feedback. Any questions you may have, you can contact me at lauren@empoweredwithlauren.com. Please have your friends share this, subscribe to the podcast. Wishing each and every one of you a day filled with light, health, peace, and friendship. Until next time.